Yo, what's up, nerds? It's time for another tier list. Everyone loves those, right? But today we're not going to be ordering anything. We're going to be going through the major characters, or I should say the characters from the major gacha titles, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin, and Zenless Zone Zero, and determine which of them I think has Conqueror's HAKI from One Piece. Now, in case anyone's not aware, HAKI is the power system used in One Piece, and it directly correlates to your willpower. There are three different types: Armament, Observation, and Conqueror's HAKI. Each of them also have their own subcategories, such as Observation having Future Sight, but I'm not going to bother getting into those. Now, Observation and Armament HAKI is innately available to anyone. However, most people don't tap into it simply because they don't train or are unaware of such power. Conqueror's, though, is a little bit of a special case. It's not something you can train, it's something you are born with. So there's a 1 in a million chance that you can be born with Conqueror's HAKI, and if you don't have it, then there's no way to really achieve that power. But even if you are born with it, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to use it later down the line. It's something that you also have to train and control. And once you do get the hang of it, you can basically use it to wipe out anybody in your vicinity that has low willpower. However, there's a step even beyond that, but only a very select few individuals are able to use it. That is Advanced Conqueror's HAKI, the ability to coat yourself and your weapons in Conqueror's HAKI and unleash them as attacks. Two individuals clashing with Advanced Conqueror's HAKI aren't even able to touch. It's kind of like a force field around your body. If an individual is able to use this power, you can bet your ass they are at the top of the food chain. They are the very strongest within their verse. And I know I just said I won't include subcategories, but I lied. I'm adding this one. So yeah, all you really need to know about Conqueror's HAKI is that it's given to those, perhaps by fate, with kingly dispositions, those whose wills extend far beyond what is considered the norm. Oh yeah, and bonus points if you got Aura. If you got that shit, there's like a 90% chance that you have Conqueror's HAKI. It literally is you projecting your own aura at your opponents, so there's a good chance that you will have it if you look like this. Now, a quick disclaimer before we get listing: I am not a player of Zenless Zone Zero. I've only seen clips and such on Twitter and YouTube, so I'm just going based off what my perception of those characters are. I haven't played the game. For the rest, I have, and Wuthering Waves I've dropped in 2.0, or the end of 2.0, so I don't know anything beyond that, aside from, again, clips and stuff I've seen on YouTube and Twitter. But I did get the gist on the characters and the roles in the story, how important they are, so I think I can make a valid placement here, at least I hope so. Without further ado though, let's get to the listing. Let me just add Advanced Conqueror's HAKI here. So taking it from the top, we have has Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. This means you are at the top of the food chain. You can only compete with those on the same tier as you. There is no contest. You have full mastery over the form. You can coat yourself and your weapons with that form of HAKI, using it in combat. You have full proficiency. Next we have, below that, has Conqueror's HAKI. This is the very basic form. You have mastery over it. You can control how you want, knock out the people you want or don't want, but you can't use it during like combat the same way you can as Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. Then below that we have Has But Not Awakened. This means that they do in fact have Conqueror's HAKI, but they're not aware of it yet. They don't know how to control it, they don't know how it works, they might not even know what it is. But they will use it some point down the line during maybe a pivotal moment, and they will awaken this power. But again, they don't have it under control. Then below that we have Maybe. This is the tier where I just don't know if they would have Conqueror's HAKI or not. I'm a bit skeptical. And then below that we have, obviously doesn't have, they just don't have Conqueror's HAKI. And yeah, that's it. Let's go. Starting off the list, we have Kalis and Stel, the Trailblazers from Honkai Star Rail. I'm going to go ahead and put him into Has But Not Awakened. And I'm going to do the same for the rest of the Hoyo main characters. Ether, I'm going to put him into Has But Not Awakened, including the two rovers here. The only oddballs here being Wise and Bell. I don't feel like they fit the criteria from what I got to know about them. I'm just going to go ahead and put into Doesn't Have real quick. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not too sure on Wise and Bell. I heard they have something inside them akin to a Stellaron, or they're made of something different, so there could be potential there. So I'm just going to put them into Maybe. I'm not too sure on that. Another reason why I'm more inclined to not include them into the same tier as the rest of the characters here is because, well, they're not playable. So your main characters aren't really main characters. And as for the rest, well, you have Rover, who is the second coming of Jin Woo from fucking Soul Leveling. Once upon a time, they were God. They ruled the land, or they were the leader of the Black Shore, and they had some sort of plan to save the world or some shit, and they lost their memories. But they're still God, so they're definitely gonna unlock Conqueror's Haki at some point down the line. It's really just a matter of when that's going to happen. And in the same vein, we have the Traveler, another being who lost their memories, though this wasn't part of some elaborate plan to save the world like it was for Rover. But even without that same level of godlike prestige or past, the Traveler's role is still equally as important. He is a descender after all, a being who will shape Teyvat's very destiny. Not to mention he's pretty much the Avatar, the only person that can wield all of the elements of Teyvat. And as far as the current contenders go, he is by far the most shonen-y protagonist here, and if he's a shonen protagonist, you can bet your ass he's getting Conqueror's Haki. And then finally we have HSR's Trailblazers. I don't need to say a lot, they're out here collecting Aeon Gazes like it's the fucking Infinity Stones. And if you didn't know, the Aeons are essentially different philosophies incarnated as gods. Some of them laying the grounds for the very foundations of the universe. So if someone like that, a little god, gazes at you, you best believe that you're him. You are a chosen one. You will get Conqueror's Haki at some point, no questions asked. Now you probably noticed that there's someone missing here, and that's Lumine. I'm gonna count her as the Abyss sibling because depending on who you choose in Genshin, your character changes, like their lore. So therefore, I'm going to say she already has Conqueror's Haki. She's basically us at the end of our journey after seeing the whole truth of the world and making it to the very end. Her sheer determination to revive Conria is not something that can be understated. Going through all that trouble to create the Luma Fate, the Atlas of the world, teaming up with Vedrafolnir, becoming the Abyss Princess, I think she's done more than enough to assume that she will have this power. But even with all that, I still don't think it's enough for her to warrant a spot amongst the advanced Conqueror's Haki tier. That just goes to show how large this gap right here is. It might seem small, just one tier, but it is a pretty sizable jump. But moving on, we have, I don't know why Stella's there twice. Next. Yeah, Arlen, we all know where you're going. And Asta, you're also going right there beside him. I'm not gonna bother explaining the ones that don't have anything. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Now, Bailu is an interesting case because she is part of, what's his face? Danfeng. Now, I don't think that Danfeng actually has Conqueror's Haki, even though he is supremely powerful and on the same tier as Jingliu on there. They were part of the High Cloud Quintet. Even though he was super strong, I don't think he had Conqueror's Haki. But the reason I'm saying a maybe on Bailu here, actually, you know what? I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say she has it, but she hasn't awakened it and won't for a while. Probably not throughout the entire course of the story. The reason I'm putting Bailu there is because she's not only derived from Danfeng himself after a failed ritual, but she's also part of the dragon abomination that was created as a result of tampering with the ambrosial arbor. And if you don't know what that is, well, it's essentially a plague mark sent by Yaoshi, the god of abundance, the Aeon of abundance. And that's essentially their seed, that's part of their power. So a large portion of what makes up Bailu actually comes from Yaoshi herself, which is what inclines me to believe that she will awaken it at some point. I'm also gonna pull a switcheroo on you. Just a quick Man in Black here. There, you forgot what I said about Danfeng. Yeah, I forgot to take into consideration that he is a High Elder of the Vidyahara, which means he has equal status, if not higher status, than the Arbiter Generals, and I think they definitely have Conqueror's Haki as well, if not Advanced Conqueror's Haki. So yeah, Danfeng, I'm gonna use Imbibber Lune. Danfeng definitely has Conqueror's Haki. The reason he's not at the very top, though, at the ACOG tier, is because he just didn't have enough time to marinate. I think his life was cut a bit too short, and he didn't have enough time to hone all his abilities and master everything that he had in his repertoire. Otherwise, he definitely could have made it there. The meat was still red. It wasn't cooked. And if we have Bailu and has Conqueror's Haki but not awakened, then we gotta put Danheng beside her as well. Next we have Bronya. I'm going to actually put her into doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. Being a ruler on its own doesn't guarantee you that power, so neither should it for Bronya. We have some great rulers in One Piece, ones that don't have any powers, ones that just rule as kings, and we have really shitty ones as well, don't get me wrong. But most of them don't have that power, and I think the same applies for Bronya. She's still at the very early stages of her leadership, and it was a position that was kind of forced upon her after her mom passed away. And because of that, she's still rather quite naive, much like Cyril in that way, except thankfully there's no one to manipulate her this time. But because of that, she really has to rely on those around her. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Luffy is like that as well, the main character. He has to rely on his crew to make it to the end point. However, there's still one thing he's really good at, and that's kicking butt. But for Bronya, I don't feel like she's particularly good at one thing and doesn't have that kingly ambition to stand above everyone else. She kind of just wants what's best for her people, and there is nothing wrong with that. I just don't think that's enough. Then we have Clara, who's just a child, so she doesn't have it, and we don't really know too much about her anyway. Gepard, he don't got that aura, sorry little bro. He just wants to protect people, that's pretty much the extent of his will. Then we have Poet Herda, obviously doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. Now Himiko, this is an interesting one. As of now, I don't think that she does have Conqueror's Haki, but depending on how they take the story, her story, I do think that she could have it at some point. It really just depends on what direction they take her character, because I've seen some stuff from Honkai Impact 3 I haven't played it myself again, but if they go down that route, that same Himiko, I think she has Conqueror's Haki, but this Himiko, this version of her, not yet. So I'm going to put her in maybe for now. And again, Hook is just a child, so she won't have it. March is kind of in the same vein as Himiko, where it really depends on where they take her character again, because right now she's pretty much is a shell of her former self and lost all her memories. She's not the same person. So depending on what happens to her when she gets her memories back and who she was, I could see her having it as well. Natasha, though she is the leader of Wildfire, I still don't think that's enough for her to have Conqueror's Haki. Pela, same thing. Shingsha, yeah, she's probably the furthest away from having Conqueror's Haki. Sampo is weird again. I'm going to put him in a maybe because we don't know what direction they're going to take his character. There's speculations about him being an emanator, so if he's there, then he's for sure might have it at some point, but right now, I'm going to put him at maybe. Serval's just a mechanic and a retired rock star at the moment, so no. Su Sheng won't have it either. Ting Yun, I don't think so. And if we're putting Ting Yun there, then Fugue has to go there by extension as well, even though she was corrupted by the destruction. Not enough. And then we have Welt Yang. If there's anybody on the Express that's going to have Conqueror's Haki, it's this guy. It's this guy. And not only that, he's going to have advanced Conqueror's Haki. I'm putting him way at the top. He exudes aura. He has a fucking black hole as a cane. His epithet is literally like, what was it? The world? The world itself, like, he is him, okay? He can conjure up anything he can imagine into reality. He's saved the earth time and time again, shouldering the entire fate of the planet himself. He's got the skills, abilities, arsenal, wisdom, experience, and fucking aura. He's got it all. He is the entire package. He is the backbone of the Express. If there's anybody that you can rely on, it's this guy. Next, we have my boy Yang Qing. So the thing with Yang Qing is, he's kind of like the Bennett of HSR, where he has these unfortunate situations where he always has to fight like the top 5% of the verse, which makes him look really bad, but in reality he's a lot stronger than he's letting on. Even in the performances he's had, he actually was quite impressive, so there's no doubt in my mind that he will awaken Conqueror's Haki at some point. He is handpicked by Jing Yuan, so it's gonna happen at some point when he decides to step down and Yang Qing takes the reins as the Arbiter General. So yeah, we're gonna put him into Has Been Not Awakened. Next we have Sealy. We really don't know too much about how her powers work, but even with that, I just don't think she's there. Jing Yuan, he is for sure gonna have Conqueror's Haki. He's an emanator of the Hunt. He's a general of the Luofu. He is definitely gonna be up there, but I'm not gonna put him into the ACOG tier, and that's because But Luofu just did him dirty. That arc sucked balls. He had such a poor showing there that I struggle to imagine him being at the top of the verse. Even though I know that he in reality should be. But just because of how he was handled in the Luofu, I can't in good conscience put him on the same tier as Welt. Silver Wolf, we all know she won't have it. Luocha, I think he has it. He definitely, we don't know all of his story, and there's obviously going to be much more to do with him. But the stuff I know of him being an XP of Void Archives, I believe, he is definitely going to have Conqueror's HAKI, if that's true. And he might even potentially have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI, but I'm going to play it conservatively for now until we know more about him. Yukong won't have it. Blade, Blady. Yeah, nah, he's part of the High Cloud Quintet, so on the same tier as Jing Yuan, Jing Liu, and whatnot, but I don't think he'd be one of those lucky few to get Conqueror's HAKI, so I'm gonna put him in the bottom for doesn't have for now. Kafka, she's just a pawn in Elio's plan. I don't think she'd have it either. Luca could potentially have it. Maybe. He does have that shonen protagonist personality, but would that be enough? I think it kind of might be, actually. I'm just imagining a scenario in which he could unlock Conqueror's HAKI, and I could see that actually being a thing. So I'm going to put him into maybe. Fushuan won't have it. Would she? She was given the Omniscia by Noose, but yeah, I don't know. She's a tricky one. She kind of does have the will. I'm not too sure on Fushuan, to be honest. In a lot of ways, she is Jing Yuan's right hand as well. So I'm going to put her into maybe. Lynx won't have it. Jing Liu, she lost to Jing Yuan. So I'm not going to say that she has it. She probably does. She's like at the top of not having it. But yeah, I don't think she'd have Conqueror's HAKI. Topaz won't have it. Gwynaifen won't have it. Ho definitely won't have it. Now, here's the thing with Argenti. I know that realistically speaking, he probably won't have it, but would he be like one of those characters that just casually has it for no reason at all and doesn't make a big deal out of it? It's just completely normal for him to have. So, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of funny if he does have it. I'm going to put him at the has Conqueror's HAKI. And Hanya, she won't have it. Ronmei, she won't have it. Jie, however you say her name, she won't have it. Dr. Ratio won't have it. Black Swan won't have it. Misha won't have it. Sparkle won't have it. Now, Acheron. Now we're getting into the juicy ones. Acheron definitely will have it. I don't think I need to explain why. Emanator of Nihility, XP of Mei from Honkai Impact 3rd. Welt threatens to disintegrate her with a fucking black hole. You know what she does? She didn't flinch. She didn't give a shit. She didn't give two fucks. She couldn't care less. Her fucking ultimate is a domain expansion of a black hole. Like, her aura is just fucking crazy, man. She doesn't aura farm. She is the aura farm. She takes one step and the rain stops mid-air before she even unsheathes her sword. Like, I don't need to say much else. Moving on, we have Gallagher. He won't have it. Boothill, I love you, bro, but Dagnabbit, you will not have it. Model Fletcher. Robin won't have it. Aventurine, one of my favorite characters in HSR. I really just love his story so much, how he went from a slave to losing everything and thinking that maybe his luck is actually his curse, and he wants to break free from the shackles of the IPC. I really adore his story, one of my favorite characters again, but he won't have it, unfortunately. I need to keep it real, right? Firefly, immensely powerful. She has such a strong will to live. But at the end of the day, she's still a pawn for Elio, and therefore I can't really say she will have Conqueror's HAKI. Jade won't have it. Yunli won't have it. March, again, I already included her, so we're just going to put her somewhere else. Zhao Shu won't have it. Fei Xiao, another Arbiter General. Don't 100% quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure she's the youngest one. Speaking relatively, of course, but she's still an Arbiter General. She's still an Emanator of Land, or the Hunt. So she's definitely going to have Conqueror's HAKI. The question is, does she have enough experience and expertise to be on the same tier as Welt and Acheron? I don't believe so, but she's definitely like at the top of having Conqueror's HAKI. She's like on the verge of discovering that she's able to use Advanced Conqueror's HAKI, so I put her in here, yeah. And then we got Lingsha. No, she won't have it. Mose won't have it. Rappa won't have it. Sunday definitely has the will of a conqueror. Before all the shenanigans with 1 week and him redeeming himself or seeking atonement, before he kind of had to crash out and completely change his personality, I would say he has it, but now I'm not too sure. So I'm gonna put him into maybe. I'm not really sure on that one. Herta, sure, she would definitely have Conqueror's HAKI. We're gonna put her right up there. It's already hard enough being gazed by Noose and entering the Genius Society, but she took it one step further. It's even harder to be an emanator of Noose. That puts her on the same playing field as Xander, who created Noose himself and founded the Genius Society. Plus, she has a whole slew of other accomplishments, solving the solitary waves theory, achieving eternal youth, and most notably creating the simulated universe. I actually can't think of another top tier that glazes themselves to the same extent that Herta has. Like, she actually just talks to herself using mirrors. Like, that is, it's levels of self-glaze I never expected to see. It is insane. But with the accomplishments she has, it's clear that she deserves it. I would be self-glazing too. So yeah, Herta definitely deserves a spot in the Conqueror's HAKI tier. And honestly, I'm kind of inclined to put her on the same tier as Acheron and Welt, because she's a genius. She's gonna figure out that you can use Conqueror's HAKI and apply it in this way and figure out how to do it. If she wants to, of course, but I'm assuming it's a big power boost to her arsenal, so she will do it. And therefore, yeah, I think that sounds about right. Ooh, finally reached the Anforius cast. So, there's something really interesting about the Chrysoseirs. They're not actual people. Well, they are, but they're stuck within the confines of Iron Tomb system, so they're kind of a simulation. And because of that, they might have a simulated version of Conqueror's HAKI, but I don't think any of them would have it, actually. Like, maybe you think that Aglaia, for example, Aglaia would have it, or Maide would have it, maybe Anaxa even. But at the end of the day, they're still confined to Iron Tomb's whims, and they're just simulations running throughout the course of millions and millions of cycles to feed into Iron Tomb's equation to create the perfect formula for destruction and make him rise as an emanator. So because of that, I don't think any of the Chrysoseirs would have Conqueror's HAKI, with the exception, of course, of our boy Phynon, because he is a glitch in the system. You know his feats. He went as far as hurting Nanook. If you can hurt an Aeon, there's no debate here. There's no second guessing. He is going to have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. He probably doesn't even know what the fuck it is, but he's gonna use it anyway because he's just that guy. And just to be clear here, I'm talking about the Phynon from the very first cycle who went on to turn into the Flame Reaver, so Kaslana. Not the Phynon that was in every other iteration. He's still very much stuck in the same position as the rest of the Chrysoseirs. But this one from the very first cycle that was able to break through the loop thanks to Cyrene, that's the one I'm talking about. The one that we met on our journey and he kind of passed the torch to us, that one. Moving on, we have Archer and Saber. Now, this one's kind of cheating because Fate isn't technically supposed to be part of these Gacha games, but Fate goes a thing. We're going to include them anyway. No, I'm not going to pretend to be some lore expert here. I watched the 3 brutes for the anime Heaven's Feel, even the Dean 1, Zero, and Unlimited Blade Works, but I don't know much beyond that. Based on my slightly above primitive understanding of Fate, I think that Archer wouldn't have Conqueror's HAKI. Even though, I almost dropped the bombshell here. Major spoiler for Fate. Shiro and Archer are the same person, except Archer is from the future. So they're kind of the same person, but they're really not, and I think that Shiro would have Conqueror's HAKI, but Archer specifically, he wouldn't. Same thing for Saber, really. She's kind of being held back by herself, which makes it kind of tricky, because I do think that in her heart of hearts, she might have it, and she is kind of the mascot of Fate, so I'm gonna say she has it, but she hasn't awakened it yet. And she literally is a chosen one after all, being the wielder of Excalibur. She was already kind of chosen by Fate, so yeah. Hycelin's We don't know much about her. And Ceridra, she feels like she'd be a Conqueror, but I'm going to just play safe and say she doesn't have it. And they are still part of the fucking Iron Tomb. I don't even know what I'm saying. They're still part of the Crisis Heirs and still part of the whole Iron Tomb simulation, so obviously they won't have it. Cyrene, though. Cyrene, I don't think she'd have it. She was the one that started everything and was actually able to let fully gaze upon the Iron Tomb so that she can change the fate of Victorious, but I don't think she would have Conqueror's HAKI even with that. Mr. Rekka won't have it. Lancer, he's kind of the Vegeta of Fate. He just dies no matter what, or loses. So yeah, he's not going to be there. I don't know what the fuck these are. I don't know why Treon and Trinon are separate. Kakolia, she won't have it. Consumed by the Stellaron. Skrullum, I love this guy, but no, he won't have Conqueror's HAKI. I'm guessing that's 1 week, I don't know. Sam Armor, I don't know why that's there. Okay, the Aeons, I mean, they're literally fundamental rules of the fucking universe. Well, some of them are. The rest of them are philosophies, and if you're a fucking philosophy, then I don't even know how to rank these, bro. They're actually just gods, so I'm gonna put them at the very top. There's really nothing else that competes with these guys. If you're immortal, there's no chance that you're winning. Unless we know what Elio's plan is exactly, there's no feat that comes close to actually defeating one of these Aeons. The closest we got right now is Phynon. And Phynon just gave Nanook a tiny little scratch that healed almost instantly. And that was backed behind millions and millions of lives filled with suffering and hatred. And even with all that fuel, it wasn't enough to do anything substantial. It's an insane feat, don't get me wrong. But in the grand scheme of things, what did it really do to Nanook? He just fucking smiled. So yeah, as far as we know, the only thing that can actually kill an Aeon or hurt it substantially is another Aeon. Because of that, I just have to put them all in Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. They are the pinnacle of power. Alright, and with that, I think we're getting pretty close to the end of the HSR characters here. Next up, we have the Everflame Mansion. You know, there's a lot I can say here. I think I'm just gonna put an image on screen right now, and it'll speak more than anything I can ever describe. The Flame Reaver, I already went over that. I'm not gonna bother regurgitating the same thing, and same goes for the Titans. Now for Lygus, again, he's one of those cases where it really depends what they do with his character, because the story of Amphorius has not yet finished. So at the moment, I'm inclined to say no, especially with how Phynon handled him. Phynon made Lygus his little bitch at the end of 3.4. So because of that, I'm not gonna put him into has, but I'm not gonna put him into doesn't have either, because at the end of the day, he still is an Emanator. And then we have the Stonehearts. Now, this one, it's really hard to say because so far they just have silhouettes and we've got a bit of dialogue. But if they are on the same vein as Aventurine, aside from Diamond, obviously, then I'm gonna say they don't have. Sapphire might have, though. Sapphire is one that is shrouded in a bit of mystery, and he's giving me a little bit of Phynon vibes. Like a more mean, evil version. But I'm just gonna play it safe and say none of them have it for now. So yeah, I'm gonna move Sapphire up to maybe. And I'm gonna put Diamond at him here. I'm gonna put Diamond into... It's a little hard to say given the lack of information again, but if I'm putting all the Stonehearts into having no Conqueror's HAKI, then I think he will have Conqueror's HAKI, but he's not going to have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. And I might be totally wrong on this, but again, this is all subject to change, of course. You know what, I'm going to move Diamond up to Advanced Conqueror's HAKI just because I feel like it makes more sense for him to be on the same tier as Phynon, Acheron, and Herta than it would for Fei Zhao, Jing Yuan, and Luocha, simply because of the way they gas him up, and just because he's the one who gave all the Stonehearts their cornerstones, imbuing them with his own powers. So they're all derived from Diamond himself. And he is one of the extremely rare emanators of preservation, so I think I'm fine with that decision there, yeah. And along that same poop trail, I think I'm going to also move up Opal. Where is he? I'm gonna move Opal up to has Conqueror's HAKI, just because of the way they portray his character. I feel like they're making him out to be like the main Stoneheart, you know what I mean? And then, oh shit, we've got the Lord Ravagers. Now, Emanators, they tend to have Conqueror's HAKI, as you can probably tell by the trend going on right now. So I think Phantilia has Conqueror's HAKI, Celanova has Conqueror's HAKI, Dicehead has Conqueror's HAKI, You get Conqueror's Haki, you get Conqueror's Haki, everybody's getting Conqueror's Haki here. With the exception of Zephyro. I think Zephyro, he's like Nanook's right-hand man, right? He's definitely gonna get advanced Conqueror's Haki. He's on that same playing field as Acheron, and from the Myriad Celestia, it does seem like Acheron is actually gonna confront him, so there's no way that he won't have it. I would also like to add how Phynon, with the weight of 33 million lives, with enough power to harm Nanook, still wasn't able to beat a simulated version of Zephyro, who Iron Tomb had to give up on simulating just because of how fucking busted he was. This nerfed Zephyro was able to kick Phynon's ass, take his arm off, and actually had to fucking pick it up. Like he was deaf from Puss in Boots. What the fuck? Svarog is not gonna have it, Mem is not gonna have it, Pollox is not gonna have it, and all these NPC fucking looking asses aren't gonna have it. Yeah, that seems to be all the HSR characters for now. There's some at the bottom, but we're gonna get to those later. Lightning Lord is technically not a character though, and part of Jingyuan, so I don't even know why this is here. I'm gonna move him down again. Okay, as for Genshin characters, most of the Mondstadt characters aren't going to have Conqueror's Haki, same thing with the Liyue ones. I think it's pretty safe to say that Amber, Barbara, Beidou, Bennett, Chongyun, Fischl, Ketching, Lisa, Mona, Noelle, Jean, Chi-Chi, Razor, Sucrose, Jingling, Xingshu, and Klee. All of you guys aren't going to have it. Maybe Klee when she gets older, but it's hard to say for now, so just because she's a kid, I'm going to put her into maybe. As for Diluc, my dude has the aura. He is banned from even stepping foot into Snezhnaya just because the Fatui are pissing their pants at the mention of his name. He does not get enough credit for all the shit he does. And I think he definitely has the disposition to stand up above the rest, which he kind of already is doing. Not to mention he wields both a vision and a delusion. So I'm just gonna say he has Conqueror's Haki. I'm not gonna go as far to say he's up here with the rest of those, but I think this is a good spot for him. As for Kaya, this is another character that it really depends on what they do with him, but knowing his whole backstory, well, not his whole backstory, but knowing his origins, he's obviously a Conrian, and most of the Conrians, I'm just gonna say it right now, spoiler, they're gonna get Conqueror's Haki. Conrians are like the fucking civilization of Conqueror's users, especially the ones that survive because their hatred runs so fucking deep to dethrone Celestia that the ones that are left automatically will just have that power. So I'm gonna put Kaya into has Conqueror's Haki right beside Diluc. Well, actually, just because I feel like they didn't finish with his character, there's still more to uncover and explore about him, and he might even have main story relevance again. I'm gonna put him into he has Conqueror's Haki, but he hasn't awakened it yet. I don't think he has the same combat experience that Diluc has. So Diluc, in a realistic scenario, he would uncover that he has Conqueror's Haki and utilize it before Kaya. Ningguang, Master of the Jade Chamber, I don't think she would have Conqueror's Haki, no. Venti is a very interesting character, to say the least. I think he's definitely holding back how much power he actually has, and I think we can make a fair assumption that most of the Archons, if not all of them, will have Conqueror's Haki to some extent. So I'm gonna put Venti into has Conqueror's Haki. Whoa. Realistically speaking, Prime Child, end of series type of shit, he would probably have advanced Conqueror's Haki, just being the Master of Skirk, who is the Master of Shurtalogi, who is a fucking sinner. Yes, I think he's gonna have advanced Conqueror's Haki, but at this point in the story, he has it, but he hasn't awakened it yet. Zhongli, one of my favorite Archons in the story, my retired favorite grandpa. You know, retired characters turn out to be the strongest, or one of the top tiers, so obviously he's gonna have advanced Conqueror's Haki, being one of the oldest Archons. He could wipe the floor with most people if he wanted to in Genshin's verse. For the rest here, yeah, really not much to say. Diana won't have it, Jinyan won't have it, Albedo won't have it, Ganyu won't have it, I don't think Hu Tao would have it, Rosaria won't have it, Eula won't have it. Now my boy Zhao, he's a special case. He is the last remaining Yaksha, and while I don't think the other Yakshas would have Conqueror's Haki, he has a very unique relationship with the Traveler. Despite the Traveler's feats and the reputation they've gathered, Zhao is always there worrying about their safety. So even though he doesn't have this grandiose goal that he wants to achieve, His love and care for the traveler is so powerful that I can envision a situation where he would want to protect them at any cost, akin to what happened during the Chasm quest. And it's in this situation that I do think he would unlock it. So yeah, I'll put him in Has But Not Awakened. And kind of on that same line of thought, I think I'm gonna actually move Albedo up to Has But Not Awakened as well, just because he is a homunculus. And I think it would be very poetic if this non-human entity, this thing that shouldn't exist, this being that goes against the laws of the natural world, is able to awaken this power that should just be exclusive to mortals. And I think that just works so thematically well with his character that I'm inclined to put him there as well. Kazuha, yeah, I'd honestly think he also be one of those people that would have it, but not awakened it yet. The reasoning for that, well, name one other person that has blocked and parried an attack from the Raiden Shogun and lived to tell the tale. No, better yet, name one other person that has utilized 2 visions of different elements. There is none. There is none. He is just him. The dude was also low-key a pirate already, which falls in lines with the main themes of One Piece. So yeah, I'm just gonna put him into Has But Not Awakened Yet. I just think he needs a little bit more experience and screen time to get that shine he deserves. But he already has like unprecedented feats. Next, I think we can knock out the remaining 3 here. And then there's the Raiden Shogun, obviously. I'm not gonna bother explaining this one. She goes right beside Zhongli. Fucking sliced entire islands. Her will to enslave Inazuma for centuries was so unshakable that you needed dozens and dozens of other wills, other wishes from other people, including the traveler who was a descender, to combat and rival her power. And at the end of that fight, we didn't even win. Physically, we had to talk no jutsu our way out of it, like just spewing shits and farts out of her mouth before she ran away and decided to change her mind. So yeah, and with that, I think this whole bottom row can go here. I don't think anyone can make a reasonable argument as to how any of these characters would have Conqueror's Haki. Maybe Ito as a joke, honestly. But other than that, yeah, I'm just gonna knock everyone off here. Again, March, I don't know what the fuck you're here. Go away. Honestly, with how much bullshit she goes through, Kuki kind of deserves Conquerors, not gonna lie. She is the backbone of the whole organization, but you know. Tignari, Kole, Dori, Sino. For Nilu, I think you can actually make the case that in the face of oppressors trying to desecrate art and tradition, replace it and degrade it to something worthless, her just standing up to that overwhelming authority and performing her arts right in front of the academia's doors. It was such a beautiful scene and really showed just how much balls she has. However, I don't think that's a kingly disposition, at least not to the same extent as those that have Conqueror's Haki. So I'm gonna say that maybe, but I'm gonna actually just say no. I don't think she will have it. Nahida though, again, she is an Archon, and just in her infancy, she stood up to fucking Dottore and made a deal for our own benefit. But I don't think she's old enough to have Conqueror's Haki, or at least control it properly. So I'm going to say that she has it, but she hasn't awakened yet, just because she is the youngest. I'm again going to knock out the first couple here, or at least this whole row actually. Now the Wanderer, one of my favorite characters in the entire game, and I promise I'm not being biased here. I think he would have Conqueror's Haki. Because of Simulanka, we know that he's going to have a much more important role in the story, and we saw the trailer for Not Cry, where all the characters are shown. He was the main focus there. Out of anybody that could have been in the trailer, he was the last one we left off on. So there's no chance in hell that he won't have Conqueror's Haki, especially given all the shit he's been through. He fucking deserved that shit. And if he doesn't have it at this point, then he would anyway. We could put him in Has But Not Awakened. Not that it makes much of a difference. My boy Neuvillette, or Neuvillette I should say, because that's how he's pronounced in French. But anyway, yeah, he's a fucking dragon with the dragon authority that was returned to him. He's definitely gonna have advanced Conqueror's Haki at his maximum potential. But just given the fact that he just recently got his authority back, I'm gonna say he hasn't figured out how to have advanced Conqueror's Haki yet. So he's just gonna go right below. Though I don't think it would take very long for him to reach this height, because he's already as strong as A and Zhongli in my opinion. Rylsley, he's not gonna have it. And then Farina. Speaking of people who suffered, at least the Wanderer, he had some sort of fuel to go on. Revenge. He had something pushing him. But for Farina, there really was nothing. An uncertainty. an empty promise. She is literally the embodiment of fake it till you make it. And she didn't even know she was gonna make it. She had nothing to cling on to, and she did it anyway. Her will, despite being human, it was just incredible, man. Still my favorite quest to date in the story. I fucking adore her character. I'm gonna put her right beside Nivlid there. She's kind of in this weird middle space here where she doesn't have the same proficiency of Conqueror's HAKI as these other characters, but she also did unlock it. So yeah, that's why I'm putting her here and not below. We're gonna knock out everyone here until Arlecchino. Sorry, Navia. Arlecchino herself, I think we can all agree, she's gonna have Conqueror's HAKI. It's just a debate now if she would have advanced Conqueror's HAKI or not. Is she on the same level as A and Zhongli? Now, the two Harbingers are based on a hierarchy of strength, and her being number 4 leads credence to her having it. That's good. However, we haven't seen any of them really go all out. And because of that, it's a little hard to place or guess how strong she really is, and whether she really does have the will of a conqueror. And not just a conqueror that would stand up above all the rest. Because if we're just talking about baseline Conqueror's HAKI, she literally had a fucking moment with the Traveler where she just stared and he froze in place because of fear. So because of the Crimson Moon Dynasty, her glitching out and everything, like Columbina, who is ranked higher than her. Yeah, just because of her past and how she grew up having to literally be the last one standing, having to even kill her friend, her best friend in the process. That is the will of a conqueror. If she doesn't already have advanced Conqueror's HAKI, she would be at the very top of achieving that goal. So I'm gonna play it a little conservative and say that she only has normal Conqueror's HAKI. For Chlorinde, it definitely feels like she would be a conqueror just because she has that aura and that gravitas, that stature that conquerors usually have. She feels like she has that. But because of her role in the story and her aspirations, she doesn't really aspire to be anything too great or achieve anything too grand. You know what I mean? She's kind of like Ryosley in that sense, just stronger. So I don't think she would actually be a conqueror. Sigewinne, yeah, she's going there. Sethos, Emily. Same thing with the Nightlight characters. I don't think any of them have Conqueror's HAKI, with the exception, you'd be surprised, of Kachina. I think Kachina actually might have Conqueror's HAKI. She's just a kid. She already beat the pilgrimage. She went into the Night Warden Wars, went to the Abyss. I mean, she died, but I can excuse that given her age. She has so much potential that she doesn't even know. I honestly think that she has it, but she hasn't awakened it yet. People be sleeping on Kachina, I'm telling you right now, man. If Mavuika were to step down as Archon, and I'm not talking now, like a couple decades into the future, I think that Kachina would actually be the one to take up that mantle. Maybe a hot take, I don't know. Speaking of which, she's going right into... She would go right there, yeah. All her feats are just blasted the ass Conqueror's tier. She broke through the Veil of the Abyss. She destroyed the fucking fake sky. Well, put a hole in it. She took on the powers of Renova, sacrificed herself, sacrificed her life and future to ensure the safety of Natlan. She really put everything else before herself to achieve her goals, obviously. And all that while not even being a deity or some godlike figure. She was just human at the end, you know? So there's no doubt in my mind that she is a conqueror. The question is whether she has advanced Conqueror's HAKI though. Because in my mind, I know that she doesn't stack up to wisdom or experience compared to the other Archons here like Zhongli and A. To justify that, I think we need to look at who she is and what she's accomplished. Every single hobby she's picked up, she's pretty much mastered to its fullest extent. And I don't think the utilization of HAKI here would be any different. Citlali, even though she's really strong, even though I love her character, we know she's not getting Conqueror's HAKI being a traditional otaku and all. Lenyan, you won't have it. Mizuki, no. Veresa, no. Iansa, no. Coffee, no. Ifa, no. Skirk. Yeah, yeah. Does she have advanced Conqueror's HAKI right now? That's the question. I think she's like Arlecchino. Like, they're on the verge. She's fucking Serta Logi's disciple. There's no way she won't have advanced Conqueror's HAKI somewhere down the line. And judging by how her story isn't even within scope of chapter 1 or like Tevat's story, there's no way she's not a conqueror and that she won't have advanced Conqueror's HAKI. So yeah. Dahlia and Inefa, you guys go. Bye bye. My glorious King Capitano, dead you may be. You will always live on as the #1 in my heart. I love this dude as much as a dude can love a dude without it being gay. He is the epitome of manlyhood. He is my inspiration, what I want to be. And because of that, I'm gonna make the most biased opinion right now and put him into has advanced Conqueror's HAKI. I mean, Malvuika's there, so it makes sense, right? And this guy did it while he was nerfed. He had countless souls within him while he fought, never sleeping, his body just fucking rotting the whole time. Not to mention he is #1 of the Fatui Harbingers, so there's not much to explain here. Now we're getting into the Nod Crycast, and there's not much really that we know about them, so I'm just gonna be basing this mostly off of vibes and fucking aura. Varka, I'm gonna say that he is the leader of the Knights of Favonius, we know that. And the Knights of Favonius, I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of ass. So how much better is Varka compared to the rest of the squad? I don't know, but he's got that gravitas, he has that aura. So I'm gonna just be a little safe here and put him into Has Conqueror's HAKI, but not advanced. As for the rest, I don't think any of them would actually have it, and Flynn's might be the only outlier here, but I don't know, I have a feeling he's going to be a minor character. So I'm just going to put most of them into doesn't have. Yes, including Sandro. As for the Hex and Circle members, we know that they have powers that transcend beyond what is normally possible, and possibly even beyond the Archons, well, more than probably beyond the Archons. So because of that, I'm gonna say that they both have advanced Conqueror's HAKI. They really do seem like endgame characters, akin to the Heavenly Principles and their shades. And we already have Rhindaughter, who is also a sinner, who is also part of the Hex and Circle, and is a shade. So if she's anything to go by, they will all have it, Alice and Nicole. Oh, wrong tier. As for Columbina, it depends on where they take her character, but just knowing that she's going to be this moon goddess, this moon maiden that they're talking about in the teasers we've seen for Not Cry, her role is going to be super important, and she is one of the highest ranking members of the Fatui Harbingers. And if Pierrot's plan is to ascend her as the new moon goddess, that means that she will have the remnants of Nibelung's powers, which is fucking huge. Just because of her importance in the story, I'm going to place her also in Has Advanced Conqueror's HAKI tier. Paimon, well, honestly depends if she is Asmodee or not. But until that day arrives, I'm going to put her into maybe. She might have it, she might not. Depends on how they do her character. Dane. Do I really need to explain this one? No, probably not. We already talked about Scaramouche. Signora. No, she's definitely going to have Conqueror's HAKI. Oh yeah. She's going to have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI because she's going to get a cock inside her. So yeah. Dottore. You know, there's a lot of things that Dottore is. Nuts, crazy, bonkers even. There are a lot of terms I can use to describe him. Dare I say he might even be a bit of a lunatic. But a lunatic, well, there's not much that can stop one of those guys. Because he has no boundaries. There is nothing stopping him. He has no moral shackles, nothing to worry about. He is just purebred evil. And I'm really intrigued to know what his plan is. Is it actually going to be enough to warrant him a place on the highest tier though? I don't think so. I think he has Conqueror's HAKI. I don't think he has Advanced Conqueror's HAKI just given his shtick and how he fights. From what we got to know about him, he doesn't really seem like that close quarters fighting type of guy. He's much more like a under the table, behind the curtain type of shit. So until we know more, I'm going to place him right here. Pantalone and Noodle Nose, I'm just going to put it that doesn't have until we know more about them, but more than likely they won't have it. Pierrot, this clip exists, so it'll speak for me.
Renova, do you know that you're being watched? By whom? Whose gaze could pierce this far?
Nah, bro. Pierrot is the definition of fuck around and find out. The moment Renova did anything, threw her hands in the air and gave everybody the curse of immortality, his eyes were set, his goals were there. He was not flinching. He was just looking on as she did it. He didn't do anything. He didn't say a word. He just stared at her and said, I'm gonna fuck you up one day. I'm gonna fuck up all of you. I'm gonna aim straight for the gods' heads. And I'm gonna take the crown, baby. If nothing else screams Conqueror in this list, then that surely will. Now, Aohel might be extremely obnoxious here, but he might unironically actually have Conqueror's HAKI, just based around his origins, and obviously he's not in his normal form right now, but I don't think the form you are matters really, because the soul, the person that you are inside, is still there. Though maybe some magic gizmo is suppressing his powers, so we could say that, and because of that I'm just gonna put in the maybe. Now we're hitting the Wuthering Waves characters or cast. Now I'm gonna need a little help here because I am not very well versed in most of them. I'm not a lore enthusiast of Wuthering Waves, so therefore I might be completely wrong on my predictions here. But based on what I know, I don't think anybody here has Conqueror's HAKI. It would probably be faster if I just say which ones here do have it or I think would have it. So one of them would be Jinxie. She reminds me a lot of Bronya actually, except just grab that wacko meter and crank it all the way to the right. Who could have thought that ancient flying lizards don't make the greatest of parents? Ever since she was a child, well, not even child, ever since she was an infant, she's had a tremendous amount of responsibility placed on her shoulders, to the point where her own future was basically planned for her from the very start, and even prophesied that she would kill her own master, something which she obviously would not want to do. Imagine if you were born to die but were given a second chance because God said no. At that point, you'd be living your life always feeling indebted to them. So just imagine how she must have felt when Jue straight up just told them, "You're gonna kill me in the future." Like, okay. Now the biggest difference here with Bronya is that, well, Bronya doesn't have fucking God inside her. She didn't fuse with anything. So Jinxie already had the will to rival a god, and now she has the power, so kind of clicked all the checkboxes there. The only other character, or two I should say, that I think would have Conqueror's HAKI are Cartethia and Fleur-de-Lis. I think that's how you say her name. Now I'm not 100% sure since I haven't done their stories, but from what I know, I think they have a sentinel inside them, or one of them is the sentinel. But none of her lore even matters because she is Wuwa's aura merchant. She's out here doing Bible feats like it's a fucking Taco Tuesday afternoon. Walking on air, check. Walking on water like Jesus, check. Splitting the fucking ocean like Moses, check. She's even out here flexing bleach feats. So yeah, needless to say, she's going to the very top. And as for the rest of these, I'm just going to be aura scaling because I honestly do not know. I don't think Folova would have it, whoever this is and whoever this is. And these four, I've seen a bit of Lupa. I think she maybe could have it. I'm not quite sure. It just depends on her story for me. Because her design and her personality do seem like the type that would unlock it later down the line. Augusta just seems like, or Augusta, however you say her name, she just seems like Mavuika, so I'm gonna just place her right beside her. And as for these two, I don't think they'd be that important to the story. I'm just gonna say no. On to the ZZZ cast now, and I'm not even gonna cap. They are fucking washed! There's two characters here, maybe three, that would have Conqueror's HAKI, and they're fairly obvious. So let's get Miyabi and Yijuan out of the way. They're for sure gonna have Conqueror's HAKI. The question is just whether the flashy animation in Zenless is enough to warrant them a spot amongst the highest tier. But we really don't have any other Zenless characters that are getting Conqueror's HAKI, so I'm just gonna say Miyabi goes into the highest tier with Yijuan right below. I low-key feel bad for Zenless here, but it makes sense why they wouldn't have too many Conquerors, because the scope of the game just isn't the same as the others. This one is much more grounded in reality, while the others are some fantasy land, like anything goes. You can make a bullshit out of the wazoo. The only other character that I think could have Conqueror's HAKI potentially is Hugo. I'm just, this is low-key a pity placement, I'm just gonna put him maybe. They butchered this girl, by the way. I saw like the teaser with her and she looked badass, and they fucking killed her in her animations. I'm so sad about that, even though I don't even play the game. I don't know, this guy seems like he has some aura, but at the same time he feels like a side character, so I'm just gonna play him, doesn't have. Moving on to the last stretch here, we have a bunch of unplayable characters and NPCs that haven't been mentioned thus far. And starting out, we're starting out strong here with Sertologi. Now, if you know anything about Genshin and about this guy, you know exactly where he's going right away. He is the embodiment of the word menace, actual One Punch Man of Genshin's verse. He was so strong, in fact, that he had to leave Teyvat to go find new challenges in the outer reaches of the universe. He fought gods and other beings that were planetary tier, even beyond that. And he still couldn't find anything that gave him that spark. So what does he do? He kidnaps an orphan, trains them under his tutelage so that one day they can grow up and defeat him in a battle. All this, and there's more details that I'm excluding here because this rabbit hole goes deep. He goes through all that trouble just to get erect from a fight. I know the term him gets spat out the shitter left and right all the time, but in this case, Sertology is just that guy. Moving on, we have Enjo. I don't think he'll have it. He's kind of a joke. Bono won't have it, and the rest of these bozos won't have it. Obligatory fuck you, Canis. No, 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 no. I'm sorry, Cardi Bear. Scott. Dude, imagine if Scott had Conqueror's HAKI. I mean, living the life he has, it's a miracle he hasn't killed himself yet. And just because of that, he might get Conqueror's HAKI, who knows? Doratus? No. No. Alberic was just Vedro's puppet. Jet. Oh my god, Jet. She is for sure gonna have Conqueror's HAKI. At the beginning of her quest, she starts out as this like carefree kid, and by the end, she's this fucking killing, rage-fueled machine. She had to witness her parents being killed, found a newfound family with the tribe, only to find out they betrayed her, and then she had to kill them all. She'd definitely be one of those characters that gets Conqueror's HAKI throughout the course of her quest. The circumstances for when she unlocks it, though, would be tragic, to say the least.
May we meet again, under a lovelier sun.
CONQUEROR'S, Farina and her go hand to hand, so should be pretty obvious where she's going. Craterus, no. 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 Barbeloth, the Hexen Circle, of course, we know where they're going. Istaroth and the rest of the shades for that matter, fairly obvious, they're going right to the top, being fundamental rules of the planet they're on. So yeah, not much debate here. Kater won't have it. The GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, Splunke. You know it, I know it, we all know it. He is going into Advanced Conqueror's HAKI tier. The first Pyro Archon, the one who took down Shiakotl, created the pilgrimage and the rules for Natlan. He is undoubtedly a legend among legends. Our little Saurian buddy. I'm actually not too sure where I'd place him. I'm going to put him into maybe for now, because I can honestly see it going either way. So their whole journey revolves around them having this uncurable disease, or I guess it would be more fitting to call it a curse. And they have to go on this extremely arduous, almost impossible journey into the volcano, into the heart of the volcano. But we figure out that this is just an elaborate plan by the Sage of the Stolen Flame to activate their doomsday device. However, in the face of all that, the little one never wavered. They always had this very stern will, always staying by our side, always caring, always listening, and never really losing faith. And that is a mark of a conqueror. And by the end, they even saved the entire world. So yeah, because of that, I'm not too sure on this one. Bai Hang, a member of the High Claw Quintet, unfortunately, she kinda dead, so yeah, I'm not getting it. Pom Pom, not getting it, most probably. Tiernon is one I can definitely see having it though. I just wish we got more screen time with him, but because of his history with the Watchmaker's Legacy, with the Galaxy Rangers, and especially with Acheron, if you're able to get Acheron's favor, you tend to be pretty goated. So yeah, I'm gonna put him into maybe. For the next couple here, yeah, I don't think any of these bozos have it. Hey Yuan, or however you say his name, he's an Arbiter General, so he will definitely have it, and he's the oldest one. Fuck, I hit my mic. And he's the oldest one. So just because of his experience and everything, he's definitely gonna have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. He's literally like an old man from an anime game, so yeah. Pretty self-explanatory there. Hule, he won't have it. Screwlum, you won't have it. I'm pretty sure we already put Screwlum, but whatever. Now the Sage of the Stolen Flame, Kukulkan, because of his race and the sheer patience and will he has to carry out his plans throughout so many centuries, I think that warrants him a spot amongst the Conquerors. And because he's so old and primal, he's definitely going to have the experience to have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI, even though he's not much of a fighter. And the two Sovereigns here, of course, they're going to have Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. The Archons get their powers from these motherfuckers. Screwlum, I don't know why what the fuck are you doing, bro? Why are you here twice? Volin, we're going to put him up there too. Makoto, we're also going to put her up there. Crucibina, you don't have it, and the rest I think are just repeats down here. Oh, Agaria, we're gonna put her 2 into Conqueror's HAKI. Halfdan, he doesn't have it. Ochkon, I would kind of want to put him into Conqueror's HAKI, but he was kind of glazing Splunke a little too hard there. Gosoithoth, I think they're pretty much guaranteed to have it just because they're a manifestation of the fucking abyss. Meaning, they're pretty much nature incarnate. You can think of them like a big ball of Conqueror's HAKI. Or not even Conqueror's HAKI, just HAKI in general. Polka Kakamon, well, she is not an emanator as far as we know. However, she is a person that could kill an emanator. They go around killing members of the Genius Society just because they try and get a little too smart. They ended the Machine Emperor Wars and killed Rupert. So yeah, I'm gonna go on a whim here and say that she has Advanced Conqueror's HAKI. And last but not least, we have Iron Tomb, an emanator of destruction whose very presence is revered throughout the entire universe right now. And the way that they're gassing it, it really seems like his birth, or I should say its birth, will result in the very destruction of the universe. That's how they're making it out to be. And if that's the case, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious where he's going. And with that, my friends, we are done the list. Took a lot longer than I thought, but we have made it. Now, is there anything here I would like to change? I don't even want to go over this, honestly, because I'm already burnt out. Hey, Soul from the future here. I lied. Again. So yeah, there's actually a couple changes I do want to make here. First of which being Jingliu. I was looking at the list here, and Jingliu does seem like the odd one out. While yes, she did lose to Jing Yuan, losing to someone doesn't disqualify you from being a conqueror. In fact, her very goals and aspirations lie within the stars, as in she wants to destroy them, as in she's aiming to take down an Aeon, which does fall in line with the ambitions of a conqueror. Next change is Sunday. Even though he did try to revive the Order, I don't think his ambitions and his will in the current context of the story makes sense for him to be a conqueror. So I'm gonna move into doesn't have. This guy from Wuwa does seem to have some aura, so I don't know, I'm just gonna put him into maybe. The last change I want to make here is Ochkan, because even though he was a Spelunky Glazer, after his death, he kind of went mad. He lost his marbles. And as we discussed before, once you're a lunatic, your mind kind of just locks in on achieving your goals. And that is scary. Not to mention, he is the son of Ku Klux and the only human dragon hybrid character in the story. Who knows how far he could have taken things if nobody stopped him. So yeah, he's going into the CONQUEROR'S HAKI tier. Now there's one character here that I completely misplaced, and that's because she might as well not exist in the game that she's in, and it's our favorite girl, Aloy. She has about as much relevance as my game design degree. Like, I don't know what they were thinking incorporating this collab. It actually screams nothing but industry plan. But if I'm being real, taking her lore into consideration, I'm not gonna spoil Horizon if you want to play it, but she would unironically have CONQUEROR'S HAKI. Well, what do you guys think? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments below. This was a lot of fun for me, and I hope it was fun for you guys as well. With that being said, like, subscribe, all that jazz, or don't, and I'll see you all in the next one. Toodle!